Hi.
Hi.
I think I'm sitting here.
I'm sorry, no, I don't know you from somewhere else.
Not that I know of. You look really familiar, though.
Yeah. Hi. We're making 2 stops. 62 McLaughlin Crescent.
Really?
And, yeah, why? Where do you live?
Pretty close, actually.
Oh.
I'll walk from your place.
Take This Waltz is Sarah Polley's second feature. She has both wrote and directed. The film stars Michelle Williams, Seth Rogan, Luke Kirby and Sarah Silverman and will be hitting theaters on June 29th. Although you can watch it now on iTunes. Press Plus One editor-in-chief Kinda Mardambe sat down with Sarah Polley recently to talk about the film. We do a show called the Canadian Film Review. It's a web show, and next season we're going to television. And what we do is we review Canadian films, and the last one for this season is Take This Waltz. And we had a really hard time doing the review for the film because when we were taping it, all we were doing, we were saying, oh, this scene was so great. Oh, do you remember that scene? And oh, we love this scene. So we didn't actually, you know, it wasn't so much a review as like 2 kids saying how much we loved the movie. So I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about the process of creating the scenes, being a writer and a director. How do you tell that story?
Yeah, I guess I wanted to make a film about desire and how much a part of the human experience it is to desire something other than what we have. And the way, I think as a culture, we're uncomfortable with the idea of things being missing. We feel like if things feel missing or if there's some emptiness in our life, we immediately want to go out and fill it. So I wanted to use someone's relationship and their leaving into another relationship to sort of illustrate that. And at the same time, I wanted to really dive into how delicious desire can be and really experience that visually. And so a lot of the film was trying to capture that feeling of the world coming alive the way it does when you first fall in love, and you know, the city coming alive, and things in your everyday life just look more vibrant and technicolor and poppy when you first fall in love like that.
So my new thing to do is to find the Scrambler in Toronto. It is my urban mission, is to find the Scrambler. Apparently it's quite mythic.
Have you been to it on Centreville? Oh my God, what have you been doing with your summers?
That's it.
Yeah, it's the best ride of all time.
Yeah, okay, so
it's amazing.
It looks as good as it.
It's pretty good.
I noticed that on iTunes, the film is already out, and it has a theatrical release on June 29th. I'm really interested to find out whether you were part of that process, or this is a very new structure for how a film, you know, reaches Canadian audiences. So I wanted to know if you were involved in that or what you think of it.
Yeah, I mean, Magnolia has done that, our US distributor has done that before, done VOD and then a theatrical release. And I think just realistically, it works really well for independent film. So, you know, your initial response as like a film purist is like, no, you know, people have to see it in the theaters first, and what does it mean for it to go on video on demand first before? But I actually sort of feel like these kinds of films sometimes, you know, just do better, you know, in those, for better or for worse, you know, people do run out to see the big franchises the opening weekend, and these films can take longer for people to go and see. And, you know, even, you know, someone like me right now, like, you know, I'm home with a baby, so it's actually easier for me to watch movies, you know, video on demand than it is to get to the theater. And I'm someone who's, you know, going to be a real audience for these kinds of films. So I see the wisdom in it, and I really get it, even though something in you kind of cringes at the idea of people not seeing your film in the theater. The truth is, most of the great films I've seen in the last couple of years have probably been not in the theater as well. Sad to say.
Tell me what you love about the story between Daniel and Luke and Margot.
Well, I was really intent on writing a piece where there are no heroes and no villains, where the characters were incredibly flawed, but that you could empathize with them in some way. And I think what's been really, in terms of what I've loved about the film, I think what I've loved has been the response and the debates that have broken out between people, and the conversations that have happened between couples after they see it. And the fact that it seems to me so many people feel the film is written from a different character's point of view based on what their last relationship was or the relationship they're in now. So I've really loved the way people have brought their own personal lives to the film, and the kind of very intense conversations that have happened around it.
This is the first time you were a producer, writer, and director on a film. I wonder if you could tell me about that, whether that was a nice synergy for you, whether there was a hat you preferred to wear as opposed to another one. Was being a producer a particular challenge, as this was your first time?
I'm really not a producer. I mean, it says producer on the credits, but Susan Cavan produced the film pretty much on her own. I love the writing part a lot. I love the freedom to imagine anything. There's no limitations or nothing practical getting in your way. And I love the collaboration with the crew as a filmmaker. So I love working with the cinematographer, Luc Montpellier, Matthew Davies, the production designer, Leah Carlson, the costume designer, and the crew. Like, I feel like that's, for me, the most intense joy in the world, is to work with people who are so talented and creative, who can help you, you know, make the things that you're thinking of alone in a dark room kind of come to life in the most beautiful, tangible way and be way beyond what you would have imagined on your own.
Yeah. The soundtrack is gorgeous. It has a lot of Canadian artists, and I wondered if you could tell me a little bit about how that came together. Was this just music on your iPod that you loved listening to, and you know, or was it very hard to compile the soundtrack? Were these artists or the songs that you were very passionate about, you felt they had to be in the film? Tell me a little bit about, you know, blending Canadian films and Canadian music.
Yeah, well, I was definitely, the music that's in the film really inspired the writing of the film. So in a strange way, like I was almost thinking of the film as a musical when I was writing it, because so much of this sort of independent Canadian music was informing what the story became. So I was really lucky that a lot of those songs sort of made their way in there.
I see that your next project is something you'll be acting in, and it's a Wim Wenders movie. I wondered if you could tell me, are you excited? Is it, you know, if you can tell me anything about it, I'm really excited to hear about this collaboration.
Yeah, so that, I'm not exactly sure when that's shooting, but yeah, it's a project I'm attached to and I've been excited about for a really long time.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah, it's a great script too. So.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Daniel, this is Lou. He's our neighbor.
Welcome to the neighborhood. Should we start walking? Hey, hop in. I'll give you a ride.
Oh, no.
Are you serious? I've always wanted to ride in one of these.
So you met my husband?
He seems to love you very much.
He does, and I love him.
Is that what you came here to tell me?
Life has a gap in it, it just does.
Between
You don't go crazy trying to fill it.
What are you afraid of?
I'm afraid of wondering if I'll miss it.
You say it's